Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into HastingsNow and how they're basically building a better local signal. Let's talk about community for a second. Remember when local conversations just happened? You'd pick up the latest news at the checkout counter or from the shop owner sweeping the sidewalk outside. You'd catch up with the Little League coach or the restaurant owner who knows all their regulars. These weren't ads. They were these little organic moments of local trust. It was literally how a town remembered itself and stayed connected. It was real, and it felt so incredibly human.
Now those voices, they absolutely still exist. But the problem we're facing today is that our local information has gotten so incredibly scattered. I mean, it's buried in Facebook pages, it's lost in Instagram posts, it's on random websites, paper flyers, newsletters, school updates, text threads, massive group chats, it's everywhere. Hastings hasn't run out of local voices at all. It's just that the connection between you wanting to know what's going on and a local business trying to tell you has become unbelievably noisy. It's so fast and so easy to just completely miss across all these different platforms.
So let me ask you directly, have you ever missed a really great local event? Or maybe completely forgot about a local fundraiser just because the info was buried in all that digital noise? Or maybe a local shop had a great seasonal tip, but poof, it vanished into the algorithm before you could see it. It's such a frustrating modern reality. We are supposedly more digitally connected than ever before, right? Yet we constantly seem to miss out on what's happening in our own backyards.
Well, that is exactly what HastingsNow is setting out to fix. And they're not doing it by building some crazy complex new social network. And they're definitely not asking every local community leader to magically become a full-time content creator. Instead, they're building something beautifully simple, a better local signal. So what does that actually mean? It means your local info should be easier to find, easier to hear, trust, and actually act on. It helps you answer that basic everyday question, what is happening today? And it does it without the algorithmic doom scrolling.
Okay, let's dive into this with a really simple analogy. Think about an old-school magazine rack. HastingsNow actually calls their home for local voices the rack. Imagine walking up to a physical magazine rack inside a local shop. You don't really have a specific plan, you're just browsing to see what catches your eye. It's tactile, it's familiar, and it's totally built around that simple joy of discovery. So digitally, the rack is organized into 21 of these living category feeds. We're talking health and wellness, food and drinks, shopping, community, sports, music, the whole shebang. It is not a cold, boring directory of corporate logos. It's a browsable digital shelf where you can just kind of wander and discover local life. It feels genuinely alive because you never know exactly what's going to pop up next. It might be a wellness tip, a dinner special, or a great photo from a downtown organization. It's just raw, unpredictable, local signal. Now, if the rack is that browsable shelf where you can freely wander, they also built a tool for when you just need the bottom line. Think of it as your daily signal. It basically curates all that local information, but without hitting you with that overwhelming fire hose of endless content. They call this feature the Local 10, and it covers the absolute essentials. We're talking city deadlines, school reminders, family events, volunteer needs, and important local business updates. The Local 10 is designed to be this highly practical, easily scannable shortlist. It cuts straight through the noise to tell you exactly what is useful, timely, and actually worth knowing today. Because honestly, Hastings doesn't need more noise, right? It needs better local choices. And the Local 10 gives you that focused, daily briefing. Okay, this brings us to one of my favorite parts, a feature called Soundbites. Think of this as basically passing around a little mic for real local voices. Imagine just a simple, completely unpolished microphone being handed around town. Soundbites are these short, audio-first micro-updates that people record right from their smartphones. It's not some highly polished commercial. It's not a complicated marketing campaign or a 10-minute video. It's just a quick, genuine local message, spoken in a real, authentic local voice. And there's a really beautiful core philosophy driving this. Voice has warmth. Voice has timing. Voice has personality. Think about it. When you read a generic text post from a business, it usually feels pretty cold, right? But when you hear a real person, maybe the actual shop owner you know, saying, hey, here's what we're up to this week, and here's why it matters, well, that completely changes the dynamic. A simple 30-second spoken message carries a human element that a block of text just completely loses. It plugs you right directly into the heartbeat of the town. And this brilliantly illustrates the mental shift HastingsNow is creating for local businesses. Just look at the old stressful way of marketing. How do I get more attention? That approach just creates more digital clutter. But the new, localized mindset is entirely different. What should people hear from us this month? This takes marketing away from that desperate, attention-grabbing vibe and moves it toward genuine usefulness. So a toy store talks about screen-free play, or a restaurant reminds families about patio season.
It's all about providing value, not just cranking up the volume.
But how do they make that transition easy? Well, HastingsNow developed these things called Monthly Soundbite Guides. It's basically like having a local marketing assistant that actually speaks plain English. You know, most local business owners are just incredibly busy trying to keep the lights on. They absolutely do not have the time to sit and stare at a blank page. So the platform simply asks them what their customers need to know right now and turns that feedback into super easy recording prompts. Plain English goes in, operator-reviewed prompts come out. It completely eliminates that blank page stress.
To really see how simple this is for a busy shop owner, let's walk through their publishing loop. An owner sets up a basic profile, they get their monthly prompts, and then they just hit record and speak in their own words. That's it. The audio is then quickly reviewed for clarity, published as a local post, and boom, it's immediately surfaced on the rack and the local 10. It is just this continuous, effortless little engine.
Now, a system like this literally only works if people actually believe in it, which is why trust is the absolute core feature here. Soundbites are always reviewed before publication. Any business-submitted updates are very clearly labeled. Sponsored content, always kept completely separate from civic news. And crucially, AI does not replace real voices. I mean, if a platform just becomes this unmoderated feed of AI filler and hidden ads, the community is going to lose trust instantly. That's why strict moderation and totally transparent labeling are built right into the foundation.
So let's bring this all back to the real human impact. Because when a local media system actually works, it amplifies the everyday voices of the town. We're talking about the owner who's been serving families for decades, the local nonprofit that just needs one more volunteer to pull off an event, the musician playing downtown on a Friday night, or the florist helping people celebrate and helping them grieve. When these real, everyday voices are supported, organized, and spoken aloud, a town like Hastings just becomes more resilient. It becomes easier to discover, and it honestly just feels a whole lot more human. Which really leads us with one final, incredibly powerful question to think about. Will the future of local media be written by algorithms, or will it be spoken by communities? HastingsNow clearly believes it will be spoken, one useful local voice at a time, one soundbite at a time. It's such an inspiring thing to ponder, right? How we can step up to protect and amplify the human voice in our own neighborhoods. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this leaves you thinking about the vital local signals in your own community.